So this is Matt Walsh reacting. So the title of the video is called "PayPal and ADL are targeting extremists and hate groups." So while the video is playing, I'll try to pause it at integral moments and give you two an opportunity to speak first. But or maybe you can like point or something, or if you really want me to pause it, we'll figure something out. All right, and let me know if it's loud enough and all that fun stuff. So here we go.
All right, this is from USA Today. It says PayPal is collaborating with the Anti-Defamation League on research aimed at cutting off funding for extremist or hate groups. In a statement Monday, ADL said the research will explore how extremist or hate movements use financial platforms to fund their activities. Both that organization and PayPal say the results of their research will be shared within the financial industry, also policymakers and law enforcement. The chief risk officer and executive vice president of risk and platforms at PayPal said in a statement, by identifying partners across sectors with common goals and complementary resources, we can make an even greater impact than any of us would ever do on our own. As part of the initiative, PayPal and ADL will also form a coalition with civil rights organizations to protect marginalized communities from extremism.
So that's the policy. Yes, Vienna?
I don't have much of a commentary on this besides like, oh, wow, this is really going to fuck up Palestinian activists.
Yeah.
It's the ADL. Dude sounds like boring Alex Jones.
That is a great way to describe Matt Walsh.
What?
Yeah,
I feel like, Tyler, you refer to him something on the show all the time, but because he appears on Tuckered, but like you say he has something in his mouth, and it happens so fast that I'd never catch it.
He eats cigarettes.
He eats cigarettes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that from something, or is it just
Yes, it is from a Gus Johnson video.
Not sure who Gus Johnson.
He's a comedian, YouTuber. You might recognize his face if you have ever been on YouTube. But yeah, that's where the eating cigarettes joke comes from.
I'll have to check that out. But he is. I will say the only thing that because Matt Walsh has been someone I've avoided on the streams. Like we haven't really dived into him, mainly because I also find him a bit annoying and don't really care to hear what he has to say. I mean, I could say that for most of the people we cover, but him especially, there is something about his voice that annoys me.
Yeah, he's very grating.
Yeah, but we covered him recently because of Brandy Love being kicked out of the Turning Point USA CPAC thing. Did you hear about this?
I heard a little about this, yes.
So Brandy Love is a porn actress and showed up to a Turning Points USA event. She's a conservative also, Trump supporter. And they canceled her from an event called America the Uncanceling. And Matt Walsh gives a justification for it. And the weird thing is his justification of it was vaguely reminiscent of social justice activists and the way they would talk about people who use racial slurs, but for the fact that she's a sex worker, right? So it'll be your actions have consequences, and yeah, you might have the freedom to enter any space, but you don't have the freedom to prevent people from reacting to the things that you do. Very
You're so close, Charlie. You get it, man.
Yeah, it was very, very weird. Very weird. And so that was the first Matt Walsh that I watched as he was saying that shit. This one gets a bit weird. So it goes in places that I wasn't quite expecting. I also have issues with the ADL. So I respect what you're saying, Vienna. But there's an element of this Absolutely. that I do respect, which is yeah, we need if PayPal wants to remove white nationalists from their platform, people like Rebel News, I'm totally cool with
it. ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said, "We have a unique opportunity to further understand how hate spreads and develop key insights that will inform the efforts of the financial industry, law enforcement, and our communities in mitigating extremist threats." So that's the story. Here's a relevant part of the ADL statement on this new initiative. It says the initiative with PayPal will be led through ADL's Center on Extremism, a leading authority on extremism, terrorism, and hate. PayPal and ADL will focus on further uncovering and disrupting the financial pipelines that support extremist and hate movements. In addition to extremist and anti-government organizations, the initiative will focus on actors and networks spreading and profiting from all forms of hate and bigotry against any community. This is a financial institution teaming up with Anti-Defamation League, which is really just a left-wing advocacy group, in order to target hate and extremism. Nothing to worry about there, right?
Vienna, you sound like you have something to say.
ADL isn't fucking left wing. Like,
Yeah.
They're
they're gonna help
left-wing.
the security state like target Muslims with this.
They're left-wing in the same sense that we think people should be allowed to live is a left-leaning statement.
Yeah.
See, I don't even
Yeah,
know if they go that far though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, especially like in terms, like, again, I also hate white nationalists. So like on that front, if they also hate white nationalists, like that strike, put one on the board for like, yay. But that doesn't make you
Right.
left wing. Like liberals hate fascists too, to a certain extent. You know, I wish they would hate them more.
Yeah, like I in a more functional situation, being on the right would not preclude you from being anti-white nationalists.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't know if that's as common as it once was.
I don't know if that's ever been common or will be common. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like part of it is like the blurred lines between conservative and liberal to a certain extent. We come in all stripes.
Yeah, the terms are so broad as to be meaningless.
Yeah, I don't know what Canadian politics are like, but like conservatives in America think liberals are the left. So like we're not even talking to each other, really.
It's the same here.
yeah.
It's the same here. I mean, like we have the Liberal Party of Canada, so everyone like associates that with somehow being the left-wing party, even though they're like the closest the Liberal Party is like your right-leaning Democrats, right? Which
So most Democrats.
yeah, where like are more like your left-wing Democrats would be like the NDP, which is the New Democratic Party.
Okay.
But we don't really
God,
have
I wish we could have another party.
Yeah. I mean, it gets it's complicated. Vote splitting and stuff, like it doesn't always work out in our favor, okay? Like the New Democrats have never won. As much as
All right, so
yeah.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows over
Plus,
there.
yeah. Plus, we have a new party that would be the equivalent of your like Marjorie Taylor Greene party, which is the People's Party of Canada, even though they've never won a single seat in our parliament. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And-
you're one
So
step
ambitious
ahead of
with the
us.
names.
Marianne Williamson has her own party in the Greens,
I
or like the equivalent of.
never even thought about referring to our Green Party as like Marianne Williamson, but yeah, it kind of fits. I see it now. You know Marianne
Yeah.
Williamson, right? She was the one who ran for Democratic president or whatever.
Yeah, I miss her. I miss being able to talk about Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, she was like sometimes right and a bit eccentric, which is like her Green Party. They're
Yeah.
sometimes right, a bit eccentric, but often wrong.
Yeah, like she's not. You're not the wrongest you could be, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. No, our
She has a couple of really good tweets. That's the only good thing that Marianne has ever done.
That's all you need in politics, right? Some
Yeah.
good tweets.
Exactly.
Our Green Party is currently going through a crisis where they're falling apart, but we don't have to get into that now. But it's been fun to watch.
Of course, there's a lot to worry about, and this was guaranteed. Now, we should have been worried about this. Back when concepts like hate speech took hold. Or even using a word like extremism or an extremist as if it's an objectively bad label.
Were you expecting that answer?
No.
Excuse me?
Yeah, extremist is not an objectively bad label.
Oh,
Solidarity with Matt Walsh on this one.
It's probably not going to go in the direction you like, but
No, I'm sure it's not.
but
But there's one sentence? Okay. I'm a little bit on board.
I was not expecting this take, but it went there. So here we go. Sorry,
also, he's trying to ban my speech. He's saying that I'm not supposed to use the word extremist.
No, he's saying that you can't.
Cancel us.
He wants, because he's just like, it's not bad to use it or not use it. It's a morally neutral word.
Complicated.
That's to be extreme in your views.
Hello, cat.
Whether or not that's a bad thing, it really depends on what the view is. If you're correct, if you are in truth, then there's no way to be too extreme. There's no way to be too extreme about the truth. Extremism becomes a problem. Extremism is a problem of degree.
Yeah. I'll pause it there because it sounded like people want to say something.
So if you're too factual, you're an extremist? Is that?
No, I can't follow this. I think he's just saying he's like there's either like true or the false, but like if something is true and you're extreme about it, then like that's okay. Like, or it's like I don't know, because didn't he say like you can't be too extreme for the truth?
Yeah, you can't be too extreme about the truth.
I can't wait until Matt Walsh starts bombing fossil fuel infrastructure.
Okay, but how are there like different levels? If something's true, it's just true.
It's nonsense.
I think that's kind of why I think he's saying you can't be too extreme about it, because if it's just true, it's true. But like, but then no one is extreme about facts. It's not like this is a notepad extreme, like no one. Usually it's morality.
Where's my extremist? Where's my extremist? Water is transparent party.
But yeah, so like I don't. It's almost like he's got like, I'm arguing against someone, but like no one holds that position,
And I, from listening to conservatives, I have a feeling this is going to turn into like the fact that I don't know which idiotic thing Matt Walsh is known for, but like the fact that races are different, or that there's two sexes, or something stupid.
Yeah,
there's two genders.
That's
how I have a feeling about where this is going.
If you're wrong,
all these dramatic pauses too,
and you're, and you're extremely wrong, then that's going to be even worse than being sort of moderately wrong. So all of these were extreme, radical. Oh, we wouldn't want to have radicals. It's a bad thing to be a radical. Well, it really depends, doesn't it? Depends on what your cause is, what your movement is. Fundamentalist is another word related to that. It's a bad thing to be a fundamentalist, talking about religious people. Yeah, it's bad to be a fundamentalist if the fundamentals of your religion are flawed.
I mean,
hot take. Being wrong is bad and being more wrong is worse? Question mark?
I don't understand the extremely wrong thing. They're like, what's the difference between being moderately, like, if I'm wrong that it's raining outside and so I don't bring an umbrella and I get wet, and like, if I'm extreme or moderate about whether I bring the umbrella, is my situation any worse? Like, I don't understand this distinction at all.
Yeah, I feel like he started talking and didn't know how to get out of it.
I get that vibe with Matt.
That's why it's all the long pauses.
Yeah. But the fundamentals thing, like, I mean, fundamentalism is like, yeah, okay, so I mean, but what does this have to do with extreme? It's almost like he's like associating extremism with like fundamentalism, but like you don't have to be a fundamentalist extremist if like what your religion is fundamental about is like chill out and eat brownies or something like non-extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's treating them kind of like as synonyms, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like kind of extreme churches I grew up in, where they would say like, you have to be radical about your faith. We need to be radical Christians, and what they meant by that was just like going and annoying everybody all the time.
Yeah.
It,
Well, I
like
mean, like he probably would want like a fundamentalist disposition because he is pretty fundamentalist Christian, right? And so, like, I could see what he's saying in that he's trying to advocate for, like, no, like, so long as your religious book isn't flawed, you can be a fundamentalist for it. That's totally cool, you know? But then it's like, I mean, I would love for him to get in the nuance for how he knows that he's right about his religion, but he's never going to go there.
It's because God said so.
So I feel like Troy,
Like,
there,
the-
Troy, you're cutting out. So if you said things, we did not hear it. Apologies.
Okay, they were important.
Yeah,
I
hopefully.
think you're better now.
Yeah, you.
Okay.
Oh, you seem better now. Perfect. Yeah. Sorry, Vienno. I cut you off too. My bad.
With the like extremist fundamentalist, equivalents that he's drawing, I guess, like that does work for the right wing though. Whereas like if you look at like, leftist extremists, there aren't any fundamentalist Marxists. Like
Yeah.
that is
Right.
a contradiction in terms.
Right, because
You can't have a fundamental anarchism.
That's fair.
Yeah.
stealing
Yeah.
from James Lindsay. I mean, like we're all critical theorists, right? So we approach our text critically.
Faven.
Yeah, critical text. Oh, I didn't tell you about Offhaven, but that's we've been covering James Lindsay on our Wednesday streams for fun. But he was like, James Lindsay is one of these anti-critical race theory people. He's also friends with Christopher Rufo and all that shit, right? But he did a long thing about how the left operating system is Hegel, and does this huge thing, and then at the end he's like, and we need to learn Hegel in order to take on the left, which sounds like a reasonable thing because like, like just like your podcast and our podcast, like we learn what the right's doing and we can find ways to counteract it, right? It seemingly makes sense. But he's like, you learn Hegel so that when someone comes up and calls you a racist, you can go, stop manipulating me. And it's like, why do you need to learn Hegel to do that? You could just tell someone to stop manipulating you.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, that's fun.
there's also an element in which like that's just like cultish. Like you're telling people like don't engage at all with the left because the left is just gonna like make you think hard. So just tell them to stop. Say Offhaven.
Like yeah. Yeah, that's the sentiment I've been seeing more and more. It's just like they giving up on the idea that there even can be coexistence with people who disagree with them. There's been a lot more just like, we need to all move to one place and stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came up on the podcast today,
Yeah, today,
for other people, but we recorded yesterday.
Yeah, it's that I like just stop talking to people, which is like there's an element in which I feel the same way. Like I would never debate fascists, right? But I think
Right.
I
The
think
losing game.
But if I think if some random came to me on the street, I might have a chat with them. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't just go, "No, stop manipulating me." As if like that would be a tactic
Right.
to do anything in that situation. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the
Really difficult.
Yeah. We got the fundamental stuff. So let's see where he goes with this.
But if they're not, then yeah, you ought to be a fundamentalist. Just means abiding by the fundamentals of your religion. If the fundamentals of your religion are violent, then yes, it's a problem to be a fundamentalist there.
So is he saying that if your religion automatically makes you violent, then therefore it's bad to be a fundamentalist? Because that would be one of the flaws, I guess?
Yes. Yeah, so if your religion is violent, which we all know what he's talking about when he says
I
that,
was just
then
gonna say, like, all I'm hearing is Israel bad
Or Islam.
or Islam.
other way around, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
my
sorry,
bad.
I'm terrible.
Yeah,
Um,
but like I mean,
yeah, like
yeah, you go Troy.
no, it's just like he's talking about this like it can be a universal principle. Like, yeah, obviously it's not bad to be a fundamentalist about your religion, but then like he can't reconcile that with he believes only one of those is a possible option. So
Yeah.
like
Like as if there's no other option. Like maybe just approach your text more critically or reflect on the stuff that you take in. Don't just like adhere to it fundamentally. Like I don't even like that's like the other thing we haven't mentioned yet, which is he keeps talking about the fundamentals of the text. But that's not really what like being a fundamentalist is. The fundamentalist is about like a strict adherence to like literalism
Yeah.
in the text. I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to be the religious one. Shouldn't he be informed? What is this?
It really depends. And that's also the case with hate. Is it a bad thing to hate? Again, it depends. It depends on what you hate and why. Everybody hates things. It's part of being a human being. Hate is the other the other side of the coin to love. They're on the same coin. In fact, in order to love something, you must also hate.
Citation needed on that one.
he's getting deep on us.
I know. Okay, I'll just before we comment, I'm gonna. This is his example. Okay, he gives an example.
Example? I love my children more than life itself. And because I love them, there are many things that I therefore hate. Primarily anything that threatens to hurt them and cause them harm. Anything that wishes to corrupt them.
I hate a pile of leaves on the ground that collapses to reveal a spike trap. I hate many things that hurt my children.
That's like I'm trying to think. Like there could be things that hurt my children that I don't hate, and I love my children.
Yeah, like I
And
don't hate
it doesn't
bees. Staying a kid.
it doesn't necessarily follow that you hate things because you love something else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's
Like
just
that-
completely nonsensical.
It is. It's. I mean, but notice as well the corruption thing. I think that's going to
Yeah.
play into some of their degeneracy talking points and all that shit.
Yeah, it's always about corrupting the kids.
Yep.
You know, I hate that.
He's so profound.
It's a big reason why I hate left-wing gender theory, critical race theory, because of the
course,
harm
of
that it does to
course.
kids who are indoctrinated into it.
So you were right, Tyler.
I fucking called it.
Tyler, we've been wrong this whole time. Matt Walsh doesn't eat just a pack of average cigarettes. He eats like those long Russian cigarettes.
Yeah.
He's a philosopher.
It needs a long time to chew to think, right? Jesus.
But we have, as a society, and including a lot of conservatives, we've gone along with this idea that all hate is automatically bad.
Ooh.
You don't want to engage in hate speech is like a different category from regular speech. See, there's regular speech, which is okay, and that's when you're giving your opinions about things. But hate speech is a totally different thing, and that's bad because it means that you're using speech to convey that you hate something. Well, it's only bad. It's only bad sometimes.
The thing
What
that,
is this? Are you guys kidding me?
I mean, if your opinion
Sorry, I was just thanking my follower. You could.
That's okay. If your opinion is that like the Jews shouldn't exist, then you can have an opinion and have it be hate speech at the same time.
That's the thing, is he's not defining hate speech here, right? Like like,
No.
Ezra does this all the time too. It's this idea of like how can you ban hate? Hate is an emotion. People feel things. You're gonna ban hate because people feel things? And it's like, no, like speech has a specific legal definition which applies to things like promoting hatred, like spreading Holocaust denial, or telling you to like murder a racial category. It's not just like I think your take on Game of Thrones sucked. Like, that's not hate speech, you know?
Something that Tucker will do, like, what even is a white supremacist? They still won't tell us. Like, it's pretending that these definitions are nebulous. From like, no, there is a thing that word means.
Yeah.
You're just not addressing it because it doesn't work for you.
No, exactly. It sounds much more like nebulous. We're like, well, what is hate? Let's all be philosophical here. Let's try to break what is hatred? And why do you want to ban it? Are you going to ban me because of my opinions? It's like, well, do your opinions promote hatred? Because we might.
Speech.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're hating, right? It's extremism, is a radical fundamentalist. We allowed all of these words to become objectively bad in our culture. And now this. And now there's by the most powerful forces in our culture on a campaign to erase hate and extremism. And on the surface level, who could possibly object? They just want to get rid of hate. Hate's a bad thing, right? Hate speech is different than regular speech. Apparently we've all agreed with this and established it.
Okay, can we pause?
But because it all...
Yeah.
So, something just that he mentioned there was the most dominant forces in our culture, talking specifically in a video about the ADL, which is as shitty as it is, Jewish, like, run anti-hate group. And it's like, I wonder who it is that dominant force in culture, and maybe media, and I bet would probably say banking as well. Like, fuck.
I mean, like, he's gonna have the same out that Ezra does, in that he works for Ben Shapiro's network. That's probably what he's. I didn't really mean it. I work for Ben Shapiro. I have Jewish friends.
I just meant the liberals.
Is his presentation always like a wise uncle in a log cabin?
Yeah, no, it is. This is all their fucking setup. It's like, look at me. I'm wearing plaid. I'm in my den. I'm gonna have a cigar.
Got my books behind me.
Yeah. The cigar aesthetic. They're all about the cigar aesthetic. Sorry, you said something, Troy, but you cut out.
Wow. Oh, it's just we all just had a big dinner. Now we're gonna gather around for Uncle Matt.
Yeah.
To tell the story. That's what this whole vibe is.
Uncle Matt's going to tell us about hate speech.
Have you guys seen the video of Dennis Prager talking about how he loves having books around him, even though he has no intention of reading any of them?
Was he talking to Ruben when he said that? That feels familiar.
I don't remember who he was talking to, or if it was just for his like fireside chat show. But he was like, "I love having all these books." Just like I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read them, but it's important to have them.
So he can he can merge the material through osmosis or something.
Yeah.
I was just like, there's like this books as an aesthetic on the right on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that seems to be happening here as well, as he's got a bookshelf back there.
There seems to be some sort of alien creature holding a banjo. I don't know what the hell that's about.
The torso is a mystery.
Very, very weird. Very weird. Anyways, I think we got like 10 seconds left before he closes this one off.
All depends. Now it's going to be a matter of, the question is, okay, what type of hate are you going after here? Are you going to be targeting people? What about those who would hate someone like me? For being a white conservative male? What about that kind of hate speech?
Oh,
Oh no, we're going to leave that alone because that's the good hate.
yeah, we got it.
That's how he concludes it?
Yep. Notice how like he doesn't touch on any other way that you can hate. It's just like, poor me. PayPal's gonna kick me off their platform because they're gonna hate on me, the poor white man. Every single fucking time. They're all like this. It's fragility. I know,
Bunch of
again, I hate
babies.
that
Yeah.
word, but they're babies, exactly. My son and daughter have way more fortitude than this.
It doesn't
I
surprise
kind of
me at all.
wonder. I wonder if like the kind of like gravel in his voice type of thing is an affectation that he's just kind of like taught himself. Because every once in a while, like he would kind of like get more excited and speak a bit faster, and then his voice would kind of like softer and like not necessarily have the gravel in it. So I wonder how much that is like an affectation that he does for the cameras, or just for his own like fragile masculinity.
I've noticed that too. He does like slip out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, because when you listen to older Alex Jones, it's the same thing. Older Alex Jones compared
Yeah.
to newer Alex Jones, he's got way more of a rasp. The globalists.
Gargling pebbles for a decade.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.